what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today I'm doing a fun video. This is one of my favorite tools in the world. I have done multiple videos on this actually, but it's been over the years and the tool just keeps getting better, so I want to keep updating you guys on it, and that is Maltego. So people always say, like, what is the number one OSINT tool, whatever. Recon NG is definitely up there, but as far as just base level getting who's talking to who type situation, Maltego is by far the best. I'm going to show you guys here, but the first thing I want to show you is this is what's kind of changed over the years, and I want you guys to use this, okay? So first off, what is Maltego? Maltego is basically a tool that links connections. So what that means is if Joe's talking to Tim, guess what? Maltego can see that, and they can put the links together. So if you have a CEO and you're trying to do an investigation on a company or an OSINT investigation, or you're trying to get recon for your pen test, right? Then you might watch the CEO and then see who they're talking to, and then break it out that way so that you can actually use other people to access them. If you want to track someone's phone number, this can do that, right? It can do kind of everything, but you'll see that there's different paid modules. So that's why you don't want to necessarily just go all in with Maltego, because there's some tools out there that are free that can do the same thing. So before we get started, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and let's go ahead and get into it. So first thing, when you open it up, you have to have an account. Okay, that's new. You did not used to have an account, at least not that I remember. I believe you used to be able to just spin this up and go. Now you have to have an account, so that's new. I created an account for the channel, so we will be using Maltego more, and I will be doing more videos on some of these different investigation software pieces, but I want you guys to start getting into it and start messing with it, right? So one of the ones I installed right away is Alien Vault, and that's because I already had an API key for it. It's easy to do. I just logged in and got my API key and showed you. I'm not going to go to details because it will show my API key, but all you do is log in here and you guys will see how this is already integrated. Like, I don't have to, I installed it, but you don't have to. All you do is you go here and install, right? I don't have to go through and try to find basically where to run this or anything. It's already integrated in the tool, and you'll see what I mean. Another really good one is Abuse IPDB. So some people may be watching this and go, well, okay, well, I just want to track people because I'm 12 years old and that's all I care about, right? Okay, cool. Good luck. Good. I'm not going to show you how to just track people, right? But what some people that actually work in cybersecurity professionals, that's who my target audience is, right? You guys will see things like this Abuse IPDB, right? You've heard of the IP database before, the Abuse IP database, if you've worked in this industry. But this allows you to go ahead and put that IP in there and see who is that IP also talking to. This is very important, because what if you're getting scanned today, right, by X IP address? Yeah, you can block it, whatever. They're going to scan you again tomorrow from a different IP address, right? Well, this will allow you to start building out who they're scanning, what they're doing, what IPs they're using, that type of thing, and then go through and actually start blocking all the IPs before they get to you. So you can actually get really, really in depth with it. Now, here's your free standard one, free standard transforms. So that's what they're called. They're called transforms, if you guys are wondering. That's what, when you run something and you try to figure it out, these are their standard ones. Now, I will say their standard ones are very limited. So what I'm going to show you today is really cool, but they are limited. So just be prepared for that. Virus Total has a free one, or not free, but it's an API, right? So this one allows you to query the virus total. So if you don't know, you can query, and we're going to dive into it, but you can query hashes, phones, people, websites, pretty much anything on here, and start building out kind of what you're looking at, right? And so with that, you can see this one is specifically for disposable phone numbers. So it detects disposable phone numbers and obtains relevant metadata, meaning if you have a phone number calling you all the time and you're like, God dang, who is this, right? You can see, is it a disposable phone? Is it just somebody that's just buying a number for 10 days or so, going to get rid of it, whatever, and what's the metadata on it, right? So you can start to figure that stuff out, okay? You can do all kinds of stuff. There's the Wayback Machine on here, so you can see, Facebook posts from 10 years ago. You could get really crazy. TinEye allows you to do a better reverse image searching that allows you to connect some of the dots. So if someone makes a social media post, I can use TinEye. I can go ahead and upload that picture and kind of see where it's all going, who's doing it, that type of thing. So you can get pretty in depth, right? Here's the Wayback Machine. So I'll go ahead and install it. I think it's free. Hopefully you don't need an API key. I just want to show you guys what the install looks like, how quick it is. So you can see I clicked install, I click finish, and that's it. Now you may say, okay, that's great. And you can see now it's dark gray. Now let me show you how it actually works, right? So now you can see here we have free with API key, data subscription, connectors, bring your own key, click and run, blah, blah, all that stuff, right? Different categories. This has been built out quite a bit, and I'm really kind of impressed with how much they've been still working on it. But Maltego is by far one of the best, hands down by far one of the best tools out there. So what we'll do is we'll go to investigate, and we go to start a new page. Okay, and here's a new graph, right? So these are the graphs. It looks just like a blank thing, right? And it says not for commercial use because this is a free license. So this is what you guys will look like. Now, I'm not interested in cryptocurrency, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. But cryptocurrency is open, right? That's the whole purpose of cryptocurrency is everybody can see it on the blockchain. So you can track it. Pretty cool. You can see there's devices, smart computer devices, smartphone, mobile camera, mobile computer, all that stuff, right? That's great. I'm not interested in that either. But I might be interested in that if something else. Conversation via email. Interesting. So if there's a conversation going on via email, I'm not going to be able to read what the email is saying because email is typically encrypted. But what I can do is I can see who you're sending emails to. Why is that important? Well, if I'm tracking you in the sense that I'm doing social media work or I'm trying to find a way into your company as far as recon goes, guess what? I'm gonna see who you're talking to, because if you're talking to somebody that I can then leverage and send you an email from that person, for instance, just to give you kind of an example of how to think as a pen tester, right? If there's a social engineering piece to the engagement, typically if I see that you're talking to Joe Schmo, the CEO of this company over here, right? And then I go look and that company over there does not have DMARC, DKIM, SPF, all that stuff. I can just spoof my email, make it look like it's coming from them, send you an email, and I know you trust it and I know you're going to read it, and I can just get into your head that way. So there's a lot of things you can do. Now, some of these they've added I have not used, so I'm just going to be blatantly clear about that. If you ask me questions about some of this, I don't know. What I mean by that is, for instance, like a political movement, right? I know what a political movement is, obviously, but I've never used political movement or a religious group or anything to track sources, because that's not the line of work I do. So it's never really been something I've needed, right? So infrastructure, this is kind of my bread and butter where I would be using it, right? An internet domain. So we're going to start with something very simple. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the domain. And as you guys know, I like to use Facebook.com. The main reason I use Facebook.com is because they are a large enough company that anything I show you on here, you could have found in 10 minutes by yourself, and Facebook's aware of it, and they're very secure. So I'm not, now they might have entities and things that aren't secure, I don't know, but I'm not worried about exposing anything, right? So we just go in here, we double click it, and we say Facebook.com. That's it. We've done our first piece. Now you guys might say that's simple, blah, blah. But watch what we can do from here quickly. And this is with just the free tiers, right? So you see all the transforms, we have all kinds of them, right? So you see we have a lot now, but see the ones that say Wayback Machine and the ones that say OTX. Those are the ones I installed. Those are not the normal standard ones. So you can see as you start to install a bunch, you're going to have a huge list. So that's why over here you have all transform, standard, alien vault, blah, blah. You can kind of break it down. So first thing I want to do, right, is I want to see kind of what other top level domains. Now, we'll see. We'll click it. We'll let it run. Yeah, I'm not really surprised that we didn't find any. Facebook.com is probably the top level domain for them, or Meta or whatever the website is now. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use OTX or Alien Vault for DNS records, okay? Because I want to see what they have, right? You can see it looks like it returned with 12 entities. Now, this computer has very little RAM on it, so you're going to see it's going to take a second. Maybe. It says it returned with 12 entities, but they didn't pop up. So we'll go ahead and go to the next one. So now let's look for domains. Now, this excludes, pay attention, top level domains, okay? It excludes them, which is fine. So we're going to say DNS. Let's see if we can find them. Found one entity, okay. All right, now here's a big one. Domains sharing an email. So if you don't know what a whois lookup is, okay, when you go to a website and you say whois, right, they have to register that site. You have to, or else you can't present it, right? Otherwise, you'd have to use an IP address. So this is going to show us everybody that has registered a website with the same email address that Facebook.com registered their website with. Now, why is this important? You'll see. Okay, and you can see it is not showing me anything because something's not right. I don't know why. Let's go ahead and exit this. Don't save it. We'll go ahead and go to new. I don't know what's going on with it. Clear this out. Go back to domain. Facebook.com. I hear it trying. I just think it's okay, so this is DNS names sharing the certificate. Now, this one will not come back with results on Facebook.com, and I'll just tell you that because it's very uncommon for a website of Facebook.com's caliber to be using the same cert for multiple sites. But there are companies out there that use wildcard certs, and when that happens, that's a big vulnerability. And guess what? You can find it right here. So now we're going to use the passive DNS. That is, again, using Alien Vault, but it's going to actually give us, and you can see it's coming back with 12 results, but for some reason it's not popping up. So we're going to actually exit Multigo. And so you can hear it. It's messed up. I don't know if you guys hear that. We'll discard everything. We'll open it back up, and we'll just restart it. Where was it? There we go. And hopefully it doesn't pop up with my Alien Vault key like it did before, or my account. If it does, I'll just skip ahead. So okay, looks like we're in already. Give it a sec to load. There's your standard transforms, everything. Okay, boom. Where's our third one? There it is. Okay, now we'll go ahead and do a new one. Load it up. Now, I can add RAM to this, but I reinstalled Parrot. And so, oh, that's an email address. That's not a domain. There's a domain. So we'll say facebook.com. We'll go ahead and say, now we could do start of authority, but I'm not super worried about start of authority, but I do want to find the passive DNS. Notice it says passive. That means we're not reaching out to anybody. We're not doing anything. We're using Alien Vault's already known entities. So there we go. There it loaded. I don't know why it wasn't loading before, but there we go. So there's your 12 entities. Now you're going to say, okay, what's that mean? It found these 12 just by using passive DNS, meaning it already had these stored. I did not ask it for anything. So right away, we have 12 targets on our machine, right? star.facebook.com. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. Now, in a real pen test, I would not just go straight to it, but I am curious for my own sake, what is star.facebook.com? It's just Facebook. They just own an interesting domain. Okay, cool. But that means there's another server there, right there, that we can attack, right? Another use case. So here we have all these, right? Okay. The other one we're going to look at is, where was the one with, here we go, domains sharing the email. This is the one that we tried to do before. These are domains that, again, share an email, meaning when the site was registered, it was registered with the same email address. Now, you'll notice this says right here, 12 entities. You notice 12 is coming up? That's because the standard version gives you 12 entries, okay? Now, you notice Rocket Mail, download now, Microsoft.com. Well, Facebook.com is a little unique because they're one of the big ones, right? And if you look and you go here to relationship, and we actually go through it, the transform domains who share the email, if we can find it here. Show me the details. I'm not sure why it's not showing them here. I could find them, but properties. There's the email, abusecomplaints@markmonitor.com. So there's the email that is actually registered to all of them. I'm not sure what that email is. It's obviously some sort of generic email to send abuse complaints. But you can see, what does that mean? That means that all of these sites have a connection with Facebook.com. Now, you may say that's no big deal. That's a big deal to me, because what if this site over here is in scope, obviously for a pen test, but what if this site over here has a vulnerability? Or I can send an email from lambdacdn.net. Well, if I could send lambdacdn.net to someone at facebook.com, guess what? I know you already have a connection. You guys somehow have a business relationship, whether or not, I don't know how, but somehow as of now you do. So I could start digging into this company and then this company and keep going, right? So let's see what else we can get into. I'm not going to do a zone transfer, all that stuff. So we can do mail exchange server. See if anything comes back. There's your mail exchange server. So right there, again, if they don't have the proper settings, I can spoof emails and send them there. So we're starting to get some infrastructure built out. Let's go to email addresses. Now, this one, again, Facebook's one of the top up there, right? But look at that. There's our abuse complaints, but that's a different one. Abuse complaints at register safe, and then domain at facebook.com. Okay, well, we already talked about this. What if now we want to see, okay, we know domain at whatever, facebook.com, right? We see that at facebook.com. So you notice it says fb.com, not facebook.com. So what we could do is we can say, let's add another domain and call it fb.com, right? And let's put that over here. And then let's start looking for things with them. Okay, so let's do something similar, passive DNS. See if we find anything. If it's the same things, then we might as well, oh, look at that. That's not the same things. COVID survey, pH fabricator, COVID survey. These are all fb.com, not facebook.com. Human rights. May not seem like a big deal, but you notice I'm building an infrastructure out. I'm starting to see all their external stuff. Now, Facebook has a huge, huge, huge external face, so it would take you a very long time to really build them out, right? But you could do this, and you could keep going. And if you look, you can get IP addresses. So, oh, look at that. Now I have IP addresses. Some of them, as you can see, may be internal. So I'm starting to say, okay, well, this IP address right here, right? Well, let's see what's going on with this IP address. Now, and the other thing is, you notice there's fraud checks in a lot of these. The reason that that's so important is if you're a blue teamer, I'm going to start building out my infrastructure of my attackers as well. And when I say infrastructure, I don't just mean these servers. I mean, I want their IP addresses. I want to know what's going on, because if that's the case, if they're doing that, I need to know, hey, am I safe? Is there 100 other IPs that I need to watch out for, etc.? Now you can see I'll go to GPS. Look at that. I got GPS coordinates from this IP address. Now, am I going to click on them? No, I'm not. Now, let's keep going. Host names. So this is the Shodan internet database. Oh, look at that. Now I have another host. So you can see I'm starting to really build out. I can really get deep, right? And you can see if I want to, location, city, most likely it's, I think Facebook's in Santa Clarita, California or something like that. San Francisco. Yeah. So right there, not surprised it's in California. That's where Facebook is, so it makes sense. So we're starting to get locations. We're starting to get all kinds of stuff. We can start to get the net block using who is. Look at that. We now have their range that they own. So, I mean, we are getting very deep in a very short period of time, right? And this is simple. This is very simple. And this is, don't get me wrong, Facebook.com is huge. So I'm not overly impressed that I'm finding all this, right? But look, we could build these, and look what you can do now. You can drag these here so that we have a connection. We can make a connection. So we can make this graph however we want. If you have a company with 10 domains, we can have them all spread out, right? And then if we want to, we can actually export this and show our graphs. So we're going to say export graph as image or generate report, right? So we'll generate report, file name, okay. And I'm not obviously making it look nice or anything like that, but we are going to generate the report. And I actually have no idea where that's saved. So let's go home. There it is. Okay, let's open it up. And if you look at that, look at that. That can go straight on a report. Now, obviously I'd clean it up. I'd make it a little bit nicer. But you could see if I was doing some sort of investigation, I have now a PDF that goes straight into your stuff. I have top 10 entities. Look at this. These are the top 10 entities that they've seen, right? Outgoing links they've seen, okay? Whoops. Entity by type, we have 5 A records, 7 quadruple A records, 4 DNS names, 14 domains that we've narrowed down, 2 email addresses, blah, 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 right? This is all a report that I can then generate clearly and give to during my pen test, right? So this is by far one of the best tools out there. It's not even close. Usually what I see is I see a lot of people that don't fully know how to use the tool. And if there's certain things you want me to show you guys using the tool, feel free to ask. I'm happy to do it. The only thing I'm probably never going to do, even for very public people, I will not go through and actually use people. And the reason for that is I don't want someone learning how to do that for me. If you're professional, you can figure that out. I'm not going to teach you how to track people. That's just not, I'm not comfortable with that. So companies is one thing because that actually serves a legitimate purpose, and this is public information, and even companies need to know about this. But I'm not going to show you how to track people individually. That's too uncomfortable for me. So let me know what you guys think. This is by far one of the best OSINT tools. The reason this one I don't classify as a typical OSINT tool is this is not just doing passive reconnaissance at all times. This is also doing a lot of actual touching of things, actual searches and things like that. So make sure you fully understand which ones you're doing, but check out all of the different transforms and mess around with it. Figure out which ones work for you, and let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite transform, because they've added a ton, and I'm curious which ones you guys use the most, if any, and which ones you guys want me to use and try out. So let me know what you guys think, and hopefully this helps you guys. Thanks, guys.